there. I think I agree with, look, I agree with Republicans and business leaders who talk about, the most important thing is to get people back to work, have them being, paying taxes. We need to find a way to retain young people here and make sure that we have the talent that we need for the jobs. There's a real skills mismatch. There's companies saying that they need workers and skilled workers, and we need to kind of match them up. So the skilled workers we have, and sometimes what happens is I have skilled workers from Groton who get laid off, and they're not willing to travel down to, let's say, Waterbury or in the valley where some manufacturers are needing those skills. They figure, well, look, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to pack up and move. I'm going to move to South Carolina, wherever I go. So everybody talks about businesses moving out, but we have a lot of people that when they lose their jobs, they just pack up and they leave. We have a lot of young people who pack up and leave to go to school and don't come back.
I have a 17-year-old daughter. She's an employee of the studio here. She had her own TV show. She's very talented. She's an Irish step dancer. She's going to college next year. She said, I'm never coming back to Waterbury. Yeah. Well, once she goes.
And let me say this for Waterbury, because there's no place. But the greatest thing about Waterbury is that out of all the cities in the state of Connecticut, the large cities, I've never seen any place that has the loyalty that people from Waterbury have.
Right.
More people.
Neighborhood.
Yeah, and they're born here. They want to stay here. They want to work here. They care about it. They're very much. This is one of the few places left that those loyalties are that deep. I mean, Tom Carousel, we're talking a little bit about it. Tom worked for me, and Tom didn't want to live anywhere else but Waterbury. He cared about Waterbury. He loved Waterbury. His whole interest was Waterbury. And Tom wasn't the only one. I mean, I find it from so many people that are down here in Waterbury, and I think that's what's great about this. This is a good, old, hardworking, union, ethnic community, and with new ethnic groups coming in and coming together and making a stronger community. And I think, everybody who's down here should be proud and try to work as hard as they can to make Waterbury a better place.
Like back in the 50s and 60s, or even the 40s, during World War II, we had the big three, Scoville's, Anaconda, American Brass, and Chase. They had 3 shifts, 7 days a week. People came here, and they were lucky to find a rent to live, and they were happy. Scoville's, they built up in the north end off of Walnut Street. Scoville houses. They built them for their employees. And that's where they worked. The work ethic back then was great. Oh, we have a call on line 1 already. Okay, 753-7593. John and I are both willing to take the call. And we have a call here for John. Let's see if I don't mess this up. Good evening, caller.
Yes.
Yes.
I would like to know if John Hello?
Yep, you're on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're on.
Okay, Mr. Olson, I would like to know if John Rowland and Jody Rail had anything to do with what was happening to this governor. Because the governor is saying that I don't know if he can do what he wants to do, like, say, lay off the people, and then if they agree on his proposal, then what he can do is call him back. I don't know if he can call him back. And I think the main reason why a lot of these people are getting laid off is because they're fed up with not getting a raise for X amount of years in time, and they feel that they deserve a fair share of their, cost of living or whatever, a raise. And then how would you go about bringing businesses into small towns like Waterbury or whatever?
Well, one, I think that if I'm understanding the question right, I mean, you had, our last governor, Governor Rell, turned around, and again, what happens here is obviously whether it be Governor Rowland or Governor Rell, they're going to point towards that, what they did with a Democratic legislature. So, and I'll agree that, but there was the issues of the pension. I mean, what they did is they both agreed, the governor and the legislature, to forego, payments in the pension plan. I think what's happening is that there's You know, what really kind of bothers me, we haven't heard much from Governor Rell, and I can appreciate it, but Governor Olsen's on the radio, and, you know, for him to go on about some of the things is a little bit hypocritical. I mean, quite honestly, I mean, you know, he's, a little over 50 years old.
What do you think about Mr. Lloyd's plan about what he wants to do about laying off the people and how he wants to go about doing it, and you think he's right in what he's doing?
Well, the problem is that the governor has raised taxes 1.2 or 1.6 was the cut. So, but maybe 1.4 billion dollars of tax increases. He had proposed cuts that were there, and then he had the 1.6 billion dollars in you know, savings through negotiations with the employees of the state employee unions. Look, I believe that, let me just first say this, I mean, for someone to come in and raise taxes, I mean, it's not easy to raise taxes. I mean, the complaints, and nobody wants to pay taxes, everybody complains about it, but he had the courage to come in and say, let's raise taxes. Now,
I
would disagree a little bit on about, you know, how he went about raise taxes. Some of the nuisance taxes that are out there, I think that, you know, some of the sales taxes where he went, took away exemptions, I wouldn't have done that. I probably would have raised some on a higher end. You got, you know, and I'm not saying you can get all the money from the hedge fund guys, but, you know, the hedge fund guys are making a lot of money. So, you know, maybe look at
How would you have gone about saying to people, well, I got to lay you off or something like that, because everybody needs a job, I know that, but if some of these people are making $70,000 a year, and he says, I'm sorry, this time I can't afford to give you a raise because we don't have the money in the budget, you know, I would have said yes to his proposal, because when you lose your job, some of these people lose their house or car or whatever.
No, I'm trying to understand your question. I agree with you. I think that 57% of the state employees agreed with you. 11 out of 15 unions agreed with you. 26 out of 34 bargaining units agreed with you. But the problem they had was these rules in place, CBAC, that created this super majority in order to pass something. And I'll tell you why it was there. It's kind of that's why I think they're looking at changing the rules going forward. Those rules were put in place to prevent a governor coming to the unions. And by the way, the unions had to protect themselves against themselves, to acquiesce to a governor wanting to raid the pension, not fund the pension, and threaten layoffs unless they were able to kind of, you know, raise assumptions or, you know, forego payments into the pension. So this governor has not approached it in a way that these rules were put into place to protect against those kinds of raids against the pension, and I think that they're going to take a look at maybe there's a way to change the rules going forward, and then they're talking about, you know, some say clarify, tweak, renegotiate, so that we can get it done.
My question is, if he does lay off these people, will he ever call them back? Does he have an option by maybe July, August 30th to call them back?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, there's no one going to get laid off probably for at least another, I don't know, week. You know, they start, the earliest maybe goes in a week or so. And,
now, if he does lay them off, you know, and some of the unions don't agree with him, and then he lays off these people like correctional officers, DOT workers, whoever he lays off, now does that mean that he doesn't have to call them back at all?
Well, if they ratify the agreement, by the way, if the governor had the money, he wouldn't want to lay the people off. He just doesn't have the money in the budget.